Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I am Anand Narsuman. We are coming to you live from the CNN News 18 primetime studios presented by Green Lamb Laminates. Now here on The Right Stand, we begin with some exclusive big news coming through, and it's breaking information, which is a CNN News 18 exclusive. A devious plot by China. A devious plot by China that will perhaps work as a tool to destabilize the entire region and even perhaps turn the regional balance. Here's a CNN News 18 mega exclusive. There's a super dam project that the PLA and the CCP are working on, and this could be weaponized in the interest of the Chinese against the interests of the people of Bharat, and also perhaps wipe out an entire Tibetan civilization or Tibetan grouping in that entire region. Without any guns, no artillery, but perhaps the single biggest investment on a quote-unquote development project, a $137 billion project, the Super Dam project, that is supposed to generate electricity and harness this resource that is water, but that could unleash mayhem, floods, or even drought, and totally thwart a huge portion of Bharat and also impact Bangladesh. The mega China dam is perhaps stated to end Tibet's issues and perhaps somewhere by displacing them totally. There have been protests in Tibet, and they started last year. Hundreds of Tibetan protesters were taken into long-term custody after very rare protests around this super dam. The displacement of communities from the region, is it perhaps the PLA's biggest plan, because they have then sanitized this entire area once and forever and permanently taken it under PLA control. But more importantly, there's more. The new game plan to control downstream. The new game plan to control downstream rivers flowing into nations like Bharat and Bangladesh. Now, according to intel sources, China has approved the construction of this massive super dam, and that is to generate a capacity of 60,000 megawatts of power on the Yarlung Tsangpo. Overall, they want to generate 800 gigawatts by layering and structuring one dam after the other and creating this giant super dam. But this project, this Yarlung Tsangpo, now this dam is planned along the entry point into Bharat at Tuting in the upper Siang region. Now from the Yarlung Tsangpo becomes the Siang river as it enters into Arunachal Pradesh, and then as it turns towards Assam, it becomes the Luit or the Brahmaputra. Now, according to sources, the construction is happening on the left bank of the Yarlung Tsangpo river, which flows into the Siang river in Arunachal and thereafter the Brahmaputra in Assam. All these activities are near the Tibet region, very close to Arunachal Pradesh. In fact, we have heard that the first ITBP post is just 5.5 kilometers downstream from this project. And that dam there will wipe out the entire Tibetan population in that region. This is very close to the Indian border post, which is just 5 kilometers away from Jelling in Upper Siang, 5.75 kilometers from Jelling village, the last circle headquarters in Tuting under the Upper Siang district, 1.62 kilometers from the McMahon line, 35 kilometers from the Medok town in the Ningchi region of Tibet. Now, Ningchi is the region to which there has been a recent high-speed rail connectivity also built by the CCP, and we had Xi Jinping travel all the way up to Ningchi and then head back, and Bharat was watching very, very closely. Now let's try and understand this map in detail, and we hope viewers who are watching this can see the strategic importance and the impact of this dam. When they dam something in that region with just 5 kilometers of Bharat's border just downstream, the first village, Jelling region coming in, the Jelling region coming in. Professor Brahma Chalani is also with us. Now we can see how close it is to Bharat. Now here, this dam, does China then have the power once this dam is constructed to unleash floods or to stop the flow of water altogether? And what will be the cascading effect on the rivers here in this riverine region into Arunachal Pradesh and then thereafter coming down into Assam? This is something which even the Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh, Mr. Pema Khandu, has also voiced, saying that there needs to be more projects in Arunachal to dam and to create water reservoirs and dams within Arunachal, so that if there is a sudden inflow of water from here, from China, all of Arunachal does not get face devastation, nor does Assam. And now he said this just 2 or 3 days back. We've been trying to connect with him and to get him on the phone to get his reaction on this story that we're putting out. But Professor Brahmachalani, your thoughts? Andrew K.P. Leung, China strategist, should also be joining us. Oh, there he is. Good evening, gentlemen. Yes, Professor Brahmachalani.
I think this super dam project carries major geopolitical and environmental implications. This project should not have been instituted without consultations with neighboring countries like India and Bangladesh. The whole project has been shrouded in secrecy from the very beginning. Few details have been released by China till date. For example, the recent reports in the Chinese state media that this project has been, quote unquote, approved, actually obscures the real thing. The approval was granted by China's rubber stamp parliament in March 2021, and subsequent to that, the Chinese government included the super dam project in its new 5-year plan, which it released in 2021. So the recent media reports in China that this project has been approved seem to indicate that this project actually is well underway, because that's been the pattern with the other projects that China has undertaken on transnational rivers. For example, on the Mekong River, they have built 11 giant dams. Of course, certainly not anywhere close to the size of the super dam project that they are building on the border with India. But these giant dams, 11 of them were constructed, each of them in complete secrecy. Even though the downstream countries like Thailand, Laos, Cambodia are friends of China, and yet they kept each project under wraps until they could present the project as a fait accompli to the downstream countries. So similarly, all the secrecy about this super dam project is designed to present this project as a fait accompli to India. This is very unfortunate, because on one hand, we have seen efforts on the part of India and China to improve relations, to reduce geopolitical tensions. At the same time, we have seen provocative actions subsequent to these conciliatory moves. We had, in the case of Ladakh, that the Chinese government declared 2 new counties in, and then so-called approval of the super, which really, as I said, the project is well underway.
Yes, it is concerning. China is also termed the most dammed nation. When I say DAM, that's the number of dams that they have built. Runs up to about 80,000 plus dams. Some reports that had suggested, our research team had suggested earlier in the day. But Andrew K.P. Leung, there are concerns. This has been raised, and the other aspect is it true that China has not shared hydrological data with Bharat on this super dam project, and also the Yarlung Sangpo, how much of water and how much of a hydrological impact it will have on the Siang River and the Brahmaputra?
Well, obviously, a dam of this size and magnitude has been under planning for quite some time. And as you pointed out, I mean, it was approved a number of years ago. And I think that the neighboring countries are aware of it, or should be aware of it, because it's a huge project. All I can say, of course, dams of this nature, whether within one's own country or bordering the tributaries in other countries, would have an immense impact on not only the water flows but on the ecosystems in the whole region. So I would say that it would be legitimate for countries affected to intensify this kind of negotiations or talks with China to make sure that any impact is being addressed, and in fact to jointly manage the project, because the project, of course, serves a great deal of purposes for China in terms of renewable energy and to harness this huge resource. But as I said, I mean, a project of this size must have impact with the neighboring countries, and I think it would be legitimate for India and other countries to really talk to the Chinese authorities to manage any kind of adverse impact. I don't think that Beijing could resist, sort of requests for these kind of talks.
But so far, Mr. Andrew, the fact is that the Chinese authorities have not been very forthcoming with the hydrological data. The other aspect is that the Yarlung Sangpo and this project itself is being built on a very seismologically questionable region where it is going to be quake prone. One of its other big dam projects has also come under scrutiny, did not get approvals, and had been raised by environmentalists and aspects that it is on a highly seismological zone. Two dams, if they break, crack, then it could flood the entire region, not just the entire Tibetan plain, but also have impact on Nepal, on Bharat and that entire region. That's what many experts had claimed. Professor Brahmachalani, will the CCP actually share data and information if you were to ask them? What do you think will be Bharat's position? Because I have seen Pema Khandu, the Arunachal CM, he has come out and said that we need to have our own Siang Upper region projects, and we need to build our own steady 4-5 dams along the Siang River, and also saying that unless we build these dams, we will not be able to save ourselves from floods, not just Arunachal, but also Assam. He said, don't hear, because there is resistance among environmentalists and people in Arunachal too with dam projects or scheduled dam projects in Arunachal. And he said that unless we do this, we are going to be vulnerable. So clearly Bharat knows it's a threat.
India is vulnerable irrespective of whatever India does. Whatever India does is not going to seriously mitigate the effects of the Chinese super dam. We should be clear about that. There's a number of reasons why whatever actions India might undertake will not be adequate, because the super dam is going to have a cascading effect on the environment, on the ecology, is going to damage Tibet's fragile ecosystems. And then there are these geopolitical implications, which are very obvious, because they're building the dam right on the border with India. It's a very heavily militarized border with India, and right on the border, they're building this super dam. Its reservoir is going to extend for hundreds of kilometers, actually. The way the Three Gorges Dam reservoir extends, for hundreds of kilometers. So, doing this project right on the border with India clearly has serious implications for India. It allows China to control the flow of this river. This river is known by different names, as we all know: Yarlung Sangpo, Siang, Brahmaputra. These are all the names of one river. But when you damage a river system by creating this super dam, it will have a cascading effect all the way down to Bangladesh. And the unfortunate part of this is that there's complete lack of trust. The Indian government has sought for several years now information from the Chinese government. They have raised this issue in bilateral talks, but the Chinese government has not been forthcoming. They have provided very little. In fact, the whole approach is one centered on unilateralism. That is contrary to good neighborly behavior. How can you have a project that has serious, ominous transnational implications on a completely unilateral basis. So I think it's important for the Indian government to raise its voice. Unless you don't name and shame China, how else are you going to exert pressure on China?
There is another way.
Unfortunately, the Indian
Another way
government
is that we renege on the. We start building our dams on the Indus, and try and. But there again, what happens is because of the CCP control on the palm, and the fountainhead of all these river sources, be it the Indus, the Yalung Sangpo, the Mekong, all of these, they originate from Tibet. And this dam here will wipe out that entire Tibetan population there. It will displace them altogether. They have no other option. A lot of them have been sent into long-term custody. Others will be forced to move out of this region. And there is a reason why they want that area clear of that's what other experts believe. There is a reason why they want that area clear of Tibetan population because of the connect with Tawang, the connect, the Buddhist connection there. And of course, there is a message being sent. So there are many stones which will be, many birds which will be perhaps impacted or hit with one super dam project that costs $137 billion. We got news from the Intel perspective, from what the Indian intelligence sources are saying. Let's just put that out, the concerns that are being raised. One is that this entire bid to weaponize water. Now, there is one way of looking at it. From the Chinese perspective, they say they want to enable this water to generate renewable energy to meet China's needs. But they could also weaponize this water because this could be unleashed and set out to unleash a huge amount or wreak havoc on Indian soil. Top sources are telling CNN News 18 there are satellite images that show huge construction near the left bank of the Yarlung Sangpo. There is clear visibility of very heavy machinery and army camp-like formations. Construction will create major imbalance and ultimately damage will be caused to the regional balance, economic stability and security. Construction will be dangerous and will impact geology badly because drilling will impact tectonic plates and that could cause huge earthquakes, and it's all going to come flowing down, and the direct impact will be on Arunachal, Assam and then Bangladesh. Dam construction is a strategic project of China, and the Chinese will have a clear advantage to store, divert the flow of the river systems, and this will serve as a tool where both nations like Bharat and Bangladesh will be suffering in the times of standoffs like the recent one in Galwan and in Doklam. China is known for bypassing agreements and they have stopped sharing data after Doklam, which is part of an agreement. China's purpose may be to divert the water from multiple water reservoirs under this project and perhaps dry this entire region of Tibet. So the water table itself is moved, river systems are altered, and it will have a cascading and devastating effect on Arunachal and on Assam. Now, in case China does this, rivers coming into Bharat, which is called Siang, will also lose its water flow. It will impact Assam, it will impact Bangladesh, of course impacting Arunachal. And by building dams in the Tibetan plateau, China will gain significant upstream leverage over multiple neighboring nations into which these rivers flow. Bharat has expressed concern already that China might redirect additional water from transboundary rivers to its northern regions to meet water demands of China's coal and grain production centers. And top government sources further telling your channel this matter is already in the knowledge of the government. The government is trying to take countermeasures to meet long-term requirements. Special representative level talks are also on to discuss various issues, and matter will be taken forward. Some projects have also been announced, like the Upper Siang in Arunachal Pradesh, in the light of developments in areas on the other side, that's on the Tibetan side, by the Chinese and the PLA to tackle this, but they are also being met with local resistance. Andrew KP Leung, can China be trusted to be honest in its use or judicious in its use of this entire super dam project? And this is quite ambitious, $137 billion project. It's quite a behemoth that the Chinese themselves are undertaking.
Well, this is the world, perhaps the world's largest hydroelectric project. And as I said, the importance of this project and the impact on not only water flows but on the ecology in the region is sufficient to elevate the talks to the highest level. And I would suggest that in view of the recent contact between the two leaders, this is a good subject for this to be raised at the highest level so as to manage any adverse impact on China's neighbors. And not only India, as you mentioned, there are other countries affected.
Yeah.
And it could also be a subject of a regional conference on this project. And that would lay out all the kind of impact, not only on India, not only on the displacement of people, but on the ecology, on the balance, because it affects livelihood of a lot of people. So I think that the matter should be taken up not only between the two leaders, but could well be the subject, a good subject for a kind of regional conference on this, because at the end of the day, it's a natural resource. Obviously, any countries which has the upstream, as in any other country, would have an advantage. But on the other hand, because of the impact on the whole region, I think it's worthwhile to really raise this in a kind of international context, in a regional conference, perhaps.
Yes, it is, and they're quite aggressive in the way they are constructing it, and the way this whole project is carrying on. And it will have now some of those representations itself show the volumes of water. The Three Gorges Dam, if that was a behemoth, and that reservoir spreads hundreds of kilometers, this will be only twice or thrice the size of the Three Gorges Dam. And these are both in ecologically sensitive areas. One shift here or there because of the pressure that the water will build on the tectonic plates on the surface itself, this is large-scale devastation. And who will be responsible for it? That's the larger question. Thank you, gentlemen. We've got more news coming through. Professor Brahmachalani, stay on with us, please. Andrew K. Leung, thank you for your thoughts. Now, Bharat has summoned Bangladesh's Deputy High Commissioner Nurul Islam earlier in the day after tensions arose at the border. This development comes after Bangladesh Foreign Ministry expressed concern with Bharat. The Bangladesh Acting High Commissioner to India, Nurul Islam, was summoned by the MEA to the South Block. It was conveyed that with regard to the security measures at the border, including on fencing, Bharat observed all protocols and agreements between the two governments and between the Border Security Force and the Border Guard Bangladesh. Now, India has reiterated its commitment to ensuring a crime-free border by effectively addressing the challenges of cross-border criminal activities, smuggling, movement of criminals and trafficking. Barbed wire fencing, border lighting, installation of technical devices and cattle fences are measures for securing the border. Bharat has conveyed its expectation that all earlier understandings will be implemented by Bangladesh and that there will be a cooperative approach to combating cross-border crimes. And there's more. A second exclusive news break on how radicals are actually running the show in Bangladesh now after the ouster of Sheikh Hasina. They are forcing the Bangladesh government, the interim government, to even halt border fencing projects with Bharat. Top intel sources are telling CNN News 18 that the Jamaat-e-Islami is actually pressuring the Yunus-led government to halt these projects, and their cadre was seen on Sunday in protest. For Jamaat-e-Islami, open border is a major source of income and their establishments and settlements are seen very close to the border area. Secondly, Pakistan ISI's role is also crucial in these projects being halted. Pakistanis now have easy access into Bangladesh and they can use these open borders to enter Bharat and to not just criminalize eastern states and also West Bengal, but along with that, send in their radicals and their rabid ideology. There is a huge threat of the ISIS that also looms large, along with the Al-Qaeda in the Indian subcontinent, very, very active. Now, they don't want even solar lights in this area so that they have no problem, A, in cattle smuggling, B, drug trafficking, C, infiltrating. Most important is to push illegal Bangladeshi into Bharat without any pressure, and ultimately that will work. They will end up working as sleeper cells for both the Jamaat and some of these rabid Islamist groups. Professor Brahmachalani with us, and we also have Bikram Banerjee, activist working for the Bangladeshi Hindu. My namaste. Professor Brahmachalani, thank you for staying on. But Bikram Banerjee, first coming to you on this, a serious issue. Now we are seen in this Sukhdevpur area, Malda region, some regions over in Tripura, there have been this activity. A large part, nearly 70% has already been fenced. It's this final 30% where the BJP are getting some help from this Jamaat cadre.
Yeah, so this is their bread and butter for smuggling, cow smuggling, and other ecosystem. But more to that, I think they are trying to stop this fencing. Is there is even the bad design of mass scale increasing the attack on Hindu minorities, and if there is open border, this 30%, then it will trigger more and more Bangladeshi Hindus to come through this border and take refuge without any livelihood. If the border is secured, the psychology, and I was talking to many Bangladeshi Hindus, they don't want to leave their motherland. They want to stay there, and they are brave, and they want to fight this battle along with the international community and India, if we can provide necessary logistical, legal, and moral support. So this is also not only supporting their keep opening the border, means supporting their economic and smuggling and other ecosystem ISIS agenda, but also to have a mass scale displacement of Hindus.
So that's another dynamic, that leave this open so that we can torment them, get them, force them to flee and push them over onto Bharat, and again wipe out the minority in Bangladesh. Professor Brahmachalani?
We have to keep in mind two things. One, the Yunus regime is beholden to the Islamists for two reasons. The so-called student revolution was really a revolution that was engineered by the Islamists. The various Islamist groups, especially the Jamaat-e-Islami's student wing, which is considered to be the largest non-governmental organization in the world, these groups played the central role in the overthrow of Sheikh Hasina's government. And today, the Yunus regime is in office because of these Islamist groups, and that's the reason why among the first decisions of the Yunus regime was to lift the bans on several of these Islamist groups, release their leaders from jail, including convicted Islamist leaders, including one guy who had been convicted for the murder of a secular blogger. So there is an appeasement policy that the Yunus government is pursuing for self-survival, because survival is dependent on these Islamists. So these Islamists are calling the shots without actually holding the reins of power. And the objective in preventing fencing is also largely geopolitical, which is that if you have you can use that open border to undermine India's purpose in preventing fencing is to keep that option open, to utilize that option as and when any opening is available, and to infiltrate Islamist radical India. This is the whole, and that's the reason why what India was doing was erecting barbed wire fencing on its side of the border. It requires no permission from Bangladesh. And yet, the Bangladeshi regime, which has no constitutional legitimacy or mandate, said today that this fencing is unauthorized. Unauthorized in what sense? India has every sovereign right to fence its border to prevent terrorists and illegals from entering India. That's its sovereign right. It doesn't need bilateral agreement on that issue. And yet, if the Bangladesh border guards opened warning shots at the workers who were erecting these barbed wire fencing to scare them away. And actually, they have brought the work to a stop. This is the unfortunate part of it, that through their threats and through their provocative actions, they have halted the work on the fencing. And we need to deal with the situation in a manner that sends a clear message to the interim regime in Dhaka that their tactics will not succeed.
No, and thing is, the fact is that it's all on tape that our BSF guards are being attacked by some lagoons and locals from the other side, and the BGB is also not doing much. And there is this brazen intimidation. But Bikram Banerjee, what is the solution? Should Bharat just continue to push and seal these borders totally? Should there be some show of force, use of force? See, because a lot of these lands are also on agricultural lands, and there is joint ownership, claimed ownership, and this territory keeps swinging based on the way the river changes course or direction. And I repeat, more than 4,500 kilometers of border, nearly 3,700 kilometers has already been fenced. Yeah.
So absolutely, there is no question of being any soft on these goons. Indian government and our border security forces go ahead with the fencing, and if needed, gun these goons down. Even if it makes international news. India is a sovereign country. India is putting their border in their own, in our own land. Who the hell these goons have the guts to come and block this? And I think if we go soft, this will embolden these Islamist mindset. So there is no question of being soft. Actually, go hard on that. And government should go ahead and also talk in diplomatic level. But there is no question of talking to this regime. This is illegitimate regime, have no control, or they pretend to control something, but they are actually hand in glove with these Islamists just to stay on power. Another thing is that a lot of the established political parties, whether it's Awami League or BNP, they don't want Awami League to be coming into the political space in the democratic process. The Yunus is trying to delay tactics. He wants to stay in power. He doesn't want to do any election. So all of these is part of that toolkit, and India should go ahead and create the go ahead with the fencing its own border. I want to add one thing. This is a global ecosystem. Jamaat has connections in British MPs, and it's a story you might have heard, but I'm breaking this news. MP Rupa Haq, who from Iling, she visited, and she is from Bangladesh, recent hand in glove with Jamaat Islami. She visited Bangladesh very recently, beginning first week of January. And there was a news and published news. She met Yunus, and after that there was a secret meeting with Jamaat. And also I have confirmed information. She met Govinda Pramanik, who is the Hindu discredited Jamaat agent who always side with Jamaat and Yunus. She did not visit any of the victims or any of the authentic organizations like both those Sikh, Hindu, Mahajot, and all these organizations, their representative sent email to the author, and there was a later article published in Insight UK-based website. We challenged Rupa Haq, and we are going to ask why she did not visit the victims. She has a duty of care, being a British MP, and from the Bangladesh origin, she did not visit, and she is actually Hindu-phobic. She was suspended for making racial comment against superficially black and suspended by Labour Party in 2022. She again got elected in 2024, but we need to take this case. Now what happening is these people, these MPs are going there, coming back, feeding the government wrong information and legitimizing all the acts and saying all the attack that is happening in Bangladesh, all these ill practices are all wrong. So this is Rupa Haq.
There are also elements that you're saying who are embedded elsewhere across various parts of the world, especially in the West, who are also helping create this entire narrative that allows this Yunus as the face and this interim establishment controlled by the radicals to continue to ply their wares as they are. For the moment, we are more concerned about what's happening at our borders and this entire steady influx of illegals coming in, pushing in, which the army chief also earlier in the day in his briefing confirmed that there has been an influx and an increase in this influx that needs to be stemmed. Professor Brahmachalani, Bikram Banerjee, thank you for your thoughts. We're going to take a very short break, pause here on the right stand on that note. When we come back, the matters turn political on the biggest spiritual conglomeration or confluence on earth. This is humanity coming in huge numbers at the Triveni, and there is a Mahasangram over the Mahakumbh. Stay with us.
Today is an important day I'm standing at Sangam here in Prayagraj, and the Hindu festival that has come after 12 years is witnessing the inaugural Snan today. I'm showing you the visuals straight from the Ghat, where you are seeing these devotees taking a holy dip in this river and in fact the water, and you are seeing these visuals where they are worshipping the river Ganga and in fact the Sangam that we call here in Prayagraj. This is the inaugural Snan of Posh Purnima. That is in fact the very first Snan here in Prayagraj. And in fact the festival that has come after 12 years is a mega event, a grandeur event for which preparations have been done from last so many months. We have police, Indian Army, Indian Navy, Indian Air Force and all other agencies deployed for any sort of contingency. We have helicopters on standby, we have divers on standby, and in fact we have authorities very much keeping an eye on every movement that is happening here. We have 6 Royal Bhaat Shahi Snan starting from 14th January. But before that, today is the inaugural Snan, the Purnima Snan, of which I am showing you these visuals straight from Sangam Ghat. In fact, I'll ask camera person Ravinder to show you the visuals. In fact, the arrangements where the precautionary measures have been undertaken. And in fact, when it is about this particular day, so Snan was started as early as 3 a.m. this morning. They say that Brahm Muhurat is one fine Muhurat where everyone wants to take a dip in this holy water. It's an auspicious occasion of Posh Purnima, and in fact the inaugural Snan is taking place here in Mahakumbh. I'm standing at Sangam Ghat. In fact, behind me devotees are taking a holy dip in the waters, and in fact I have got one family that has in fact come from Jaunpur to Prayagraj, and in fact they are very part of this first Snan in the Brahm Muhurat. I'll try to talk to them as well. सर कहाँ से आए हैं आप लोग, क्या नाम है आपका, कहाँ से आए हैं, सबसे पहले तो ये बता दीजिए।
मेरा नाम सर राकेश जायसवाल है और हम जौनपुर से आए हैं।
जौनपुर से आए, कितने लोग हैं, पूरा परिवार आए?
4 लोग हैं।
कौन कौन है सर?
छोटा भाई है, मेरी वाइफ है और मेरी बेटी है।
देखिए हिंदू मान्यता के हिसाब से कुंभ का कितना महत्व है ये तो किसी को बताने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, लेकिन जब व्यक्तिगत तौर पर बात करते हैं तो आपका पहला स्नान में सम्मिलित होना कितना महत्व आपकी निजी जिंदगी में है और क्या कुछ इस विषय में बताना चाहेंगे?
क्योंकि सर मेरा पहला स्नान था तो बहुत अच्छा लगा। मतलब एक आध्यात्मिक आत्मसंतुष्टि मिली। बस यही।
सर आप क्या नाम है, क्या करते हैं, आपका भी पहला स्नान है?
हाँ, मैं, मेरे बड़े भाई हैं राकेश जी, मैं अखिलेश जायसवाल इनका छोटा भाई हूँ। हम लोग पेशे से व्यवसायी हैं और ये हम लोगों का पहला स्नान है। बड़ा अच्छा, बड़ी अच्छी अनुभूति रही और बड़ा अच्छा अनुभव रहा। और
क्या बेहतर है तैयारियों में और कहाँ बेहतरी की उम्मीद है?
नहीं, सरकार की तो भाई इसमें सराहना करनी चाहिए कि उन्होंने बड़े अच्छे इंतजाम किए हैं और पर्याप्त अच्छे इंतजाम किए हैं। किसी तरह की कोई परेशानी कहीं नहीं हुई,
कहीं नहीं।
और मतलब अपने संस्कृति को महसूस करने में मतलब एक सरकार का जितना योगदान हो सकता है मैं उनके इंतजाम से बहुत खुश हूँ।
कहाँ रुके कहाँ, क्योंकि हम कुछ लोग कह रहे थे कि होटल्स में तो कम से कम रेट नहीं, लेकिन टेंटों का भी पर्याप्त इंतजाम है। आप कहाँ रुके हैं?
बड़ा अच्छा अनुभव रहा हम लोगों का, चूँकि हम लोग बिल्कुल पास के जिले के हैं तो थोड़ा हम लोग लेट आए।
अच्छा।
तो कहीं
There's a Mahasangram amid the Mahakumbh that's on, and it's a political sangram. After the Samajwadi Party chief Akhilesh Yadav quoted Swami Vivekananda saying people need bread more than religion, addressing a press conference in the auditorium of the Samajwadi Party state headquarters on the occasion of Swami Vivekananda's birth anniversary, and this was on Sunday. He added that explaining religious things to the poor will be wrong in today's time. Hitting back at the Samajwadi Party chief, the BJP said that the statement exposes Akhilesh Yadav's hypocrisy and that it was under his regime that unemployment has peaked in Uttar Pradesh. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath on Sunday invoked Swami Vivekananda, suggesting that Akhilesh Yadav's interpretation misrepresents Swami Vivekananda's legacy. He said that the monk globally championed Vedic culture and never shied away from his Hindu identity, and he urged that like Swami Vivekananda, every Hindu should be proud of his faith. Garv se kaho hum Hindu hain. Now, this is something which is portioned or likened, attached with Swami Vivekananda. Akhilesh had also taken a dig at the BJP government, saying some visit Kumbh to wash away their sins. Today, the BJP hit back, reminding him of 2013 stampede that killed 43 people.
धर्म से ज्यादा हमें रोटी की जरूरत है देश के लोगों को, और जो गरीब हैं उनको धार्मिक बातें समझाना शायद गलत होगा आज के समय में।
उन्होंने कहा था पूरे देशवासियों से कि गर्व से कहो हम हिंदू। स्वामी विवेकानंद उस कालखंड में कह रहे जब देश गुलाम है, तो स्वाभाविक रूप से वामपंथी इसको कैसे स्वीकार कर सकते?
तो ना तो सामाजिक संत पर राजनीति होनी चाहिए, ना संतों पर होनी चाहिए, ना कुंभ पे होनी चाहिए, लेकिन भारतीय जनता पार्टी या उनसे जुड़े लोग कुंभ जैसी आस्था वाली चीज पर भी राजनीति कर रहे हैं।
वोट बैंक को रिझाने के लिए, वोट बैंक को खुश करने के लिए, किसी और धर्म या पर्व के बारे में वो कभी ऐसे नहीं बोलते।
Let's go straight across to the Samajwadi Party and the BJP, and it's a direct face-off. To Insina National Spokesperson of the BJP with us, Vivek Silas, spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party with us here in the studio. Vivek Silas, what is Akhilesh's grouse with the Kumbh?
As far as the Samajwadi Party is concerned, we also hosted a very successful Kumbh in 2013, and we were awarded for that. And what the Honorable Chief Minister was mentioning about the incident that happened in the sad incident that happened in Prayagraj, it was at the railway station. It was just an accident. It was not anything else. But the Bharatiya Janata Party has to blame the opposition. They have nothing else to do, And as far as the, what our national president has said about it, definitely it is a big question at the moment. We see where India is heading, where 82 crore people are getting, free ration just to survive. So it's a matter of bread and butter. What wrong he has said, that I just wanted to know. Then if you see the employment things, even today if you see what happened in Prayagraj, the sailors, the boatmen are not allowed to go in Ganges. Why? Why? Because just they are poor nishads. They are not allowed to go there with their boats and earn some money. I was on some other channel this afternoon, and it was quite incredible to see what the Bharatiya Janata Party is doing with the nishads. It is absolutely, very incredible and very heartbreaking. People who are expecting to earn some money, the poor people, but the Bharatiya Janata Party, I don't know what type of politics and what is their plan of action in Prayagraj, what they want to show and what they want to portray. I have even seen a video from Texas that was shown and produced by the Bharatiya Janata Party, showing that it is from the Kumbh. Ultimately, it came out to be a video from the Christmas party in Texas, USA. So that is what the reality of the Bharatiya Janata Party is. They have nothing else to say. If you see the 2019 CAG report of what the central government had published in 2019, they found huge irregularities of corruption, mismanagement, even disposal of waste and security. And it was said that 2,700 crores were gone down the drain due to corruption, and it was the Bharatiya Janata Party who was at the center, even in the Uttar Pradesh. They were. So
you're saying that the last Kumbh was a corrupt practice, but Akhilesh Yadav said कि गरीब को धर्म नहीं बता सकते, कोई फायदा नहीं talking religion, but you have identified the गरीब as with their jati or their caste. But you made a charge at the BJP Yes, Tuhin Sinha, please respond. Nishads being prohibited is what he said, not boatmen.
Namaste.
But first he said boatmen, then he said Nishad, specifically playing the... No, I know they're playing the one and the same thing, but they are also playing the caste
Namaste,
game there. You're also
Anand ji,
playing the
namaste.
jati game there. Yeah.
Yes, that's the only thing the Samajwadi Party can do, play the caste game. If the boatmen are not allowed to venture into a certain area, that is entirely because of, organizational reasons. And I can tell you that if at all they are incurring any financial loss, they will more than be compensated by the Yogi government. The Yogi government has always compensated even for the most minimal of losses to anybody. The point is, Samajwadi Party's flippancy, its impertinence when it comes to the Hindu faith is well known. But when Akhilesh Yadav regularly makes such political innuendos at the time of Mahakumbh, it ends up being a cheap gimmick which he must avoid. Now, I want to very selectively read out verbatim from the CAG report which had nailed the 2013 organization of Kumbh by Azam Khan, the great Azam Khan, one of the most corrupt and the crime-infested persons in politics. And let me just quote, from the CAG report of 2013-14. The Kumbh Mela was given a go-ahead even while 59% of the construction work and 19% of the supplies remained incomplete. Out of 101 sanctioned construction works, 81 were done without technical scrutiny. This also resulted in purchase of needless equipment. For instance, 73% of iron handcarts purchased for Kumbh remained unused and kept lying in the open till March 2013. Now, for Samajwadi Party, even the Kumbh Mela thereby was a scam, when you have somebody like Azam Khan preside over it. But more importantly, since he talks about roti, when 25,000 crore revenue is being generated through the Kumbh organization, through the Kumbh celebration, isn't it generating employment? Isn't it generating roti? When Ayodhya generates 25,000 crore revenue in the first year, it is but obvious that in a radius of 100 kilometers in the entire region, there is development, there is increase in employment opportunities. Why does the Samajwadi Party have a fundamental problem with the growth of Hindu religion, with the prosperity of the Hindu religion? Why can't they fathom the concept of temple economy, which is intrinsic to our culture?
Well,
These are the larger issues over here.
Last we checked, 80 lakh people plus had taken a dip on the first day itself, Vivek Silas. So, have the people themselves proven Akhilesh wrong?
No, I think what Tuhin Sinha was saying at the moment regarding religion and other things, it's everywhere it's the same. If you debate with any Bharatiya Janata Party spokesperson, you have to hear this religion speech. Hindu, Muslim. Ultimately, they blame the Samajwadi Party that we are polarizing. If you see what the Honorable Prime Minister, recent elections in Jharkhand, I don't want to go in 2024, otherwise debate will be too long. In Jharkhand election, what the Honorable Prime Minister said, कि वो लोग आएंगे और आपकी बहू बेटियों को उठा के ले जाएंगे. अरे सबसे पहली बात तो ये बताइए वो लोग आएंगे कैसे? Who is controlling the borders? कपड़ों से पहचान लेते हैं, 80-20 करते हैं, शमशान कब्रिस्तान करते हैं, दिवाली करते हैं. ये पोलराइजेशन नहीं तो और क्या है? जनता तो देख ही रही. आज देखिए देश की समस्या. व्हाट आर द प्रॉब्लम्स ऑफ इंडिया? वेयर इज द डॉलर हेडिंग फॉर? इट्स क्रॉस 86 मार्क. दैट इज व्हाट द ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर every time said, if the dollar falls, the stake of the country goes down. Where is the stake at the moment? What about the employment? Unemployment is the highest in Uttar Pradesh.
The issue, subject matter of debate, you can raise all these issues. Subject matter of the debate is Mahakumbh, and what is the problem that the Samajwadi Party has with the Mahakumbh? Why did Mr. Akhilesh Yadav have to say that you cannot talk spirituality and religion to the poor? You got to talk. There's no point talking this to a poor person. Why did he have to make that point around the time on the day of the first day of Mahakumbh, and which was also on the day of Swami Vivekananda? Swami Vivekananda was the person. Selectively quoting Swami Vivekananda. Why? Who is doing the politics? It was not Yogi Adityanath didn't put a gun to Akhilesh Yadav's head and say what you are going to say.
Look, what Swami Vivekananda ji said, that religion and politics cannot go together. But the Bharatiya Janata Party has brought such, shame to the country, bringing religion and politics together. Because any election, you see whatever, since 2014 till date, the Bharatiya Janata Party cannot fight or contest any election without bringing religion into in the politics, whether it is Pakistan or today
So
Bangladesh.
what is PDA then?
Huh? PDA is
PDA में there is no religion.
नहीं, PDA is पिछड़ा, दलित, अल्पसंख्यक,
अल्पसंख्यक कौन
अगड़े,
है?
आधी आबादी।
नहीं, अल्पसंख्यक कौन है?
अल्पसंख्यक में तो
कोई रिलीजन नहीं है।
could be Christians, it
नहीं,
could be Muslim,
तो
it
वो
could be
रिलीजन
Sikh,
नहीं है,
any
तो वो रिलीजन नहीं है,
Buddhist,
तो वो रिलीजन नहीं है,
that is a
नहीं तो
form
वो रिलीजन नहीं है,
नहीं
वो रिलीजन नहीं है, मैं आपसे पूछ रहा हूँ, वो रिलीजन नहीं है।
रिलीजन क्या, उसमें तो सब आ जाते हैं ना।
नहीं तीर
We are covering almost 100%. PDA is almost
नहीं
covering
तो
100%.
समाजवादी
It has
पार्टी
nothing to do with religion.
till date has never done anything on religion.
देखिए आनंद जी, मैंने अपने 2 मिनट के ओपनिंग रिमार्क्स में कभी मुस्लिम शब्द यूज ही नहीं किया, लेकिन समाजवादी पार्टी ने इतना लंबा मोनोलॉग दे दिया कि मैं हिंदू मुस्लिम कर रहा हूं। अरे मैं लॉजिक की बात कर रहा हूं, जब 25,000 करोड़ जनरेट हो रहे हैं कुंभ में, तो इज इट जॉबलेस ग्रोथ? इज इट नॉट जनरेटिंग एम्प्लॉयमेंट? ये लॉजिक समाजवादी पार्टी को समझ में क्यों नहीं आ रहा है? स्वामी विवेकानंद को सिलेक्टिवली कोट करते हैं। स्वामी विवेकानंद had also said, arise, awake and don't stop till your goal is achieved. And our goal is revival of the ancient greatness of this country, which is always at threat when radicals of Samajwadi Party try to hold sway in across Uttar Pradesh, when they resort to crimes of the worst kind. So yes, we will go ahead with it.
I think it's better for the Bharatiya Janata Party, let me see, sorry to interrupt Anand ji, to revive the economy of the country.
No, so when
what are you doing on that?
When
are you doing anything?
When 25,000 crore revenue is being generated, that's what he's asking you.
आनंद इकोनॉमी की भी बात कर रहा हूँ।
Yeah, okay.
इकोनॉमी की भी बात कर रहा हूँ। इकोनॉमी की भी बात कर रहा हूँ।
तभी 1050 पॉइंट सेंसेस डाउन हो गया,
उत्तर प्रदेश
लाखों करोड़ का नुकसान हो गया, और आप बैठ गए इकोनॉमी की बात कर दे रहे हैं।
आप अनपढ़ जैसा बात कर रहे हैं। When in 2017 when we took over, Uttar Pradesh was at number 7 in terms of its contribution to the national GDP. Today it is at number 2. Today the contribution of Uttar Pradesh is 9.2%. Today the slew of highways across Uttar Pradesh is leading to seamless connectivity, is leading to improved economies in the tier 2, tier 3 cities. Why can't they see this? They have a fundamental problem with, like I mentioned, the ancient concept of temple economy. They can't see prosperity in the Hindu religion. They can't see prosperity in temple towns.
No, is it that they can't see prosperity in the Hindu faith and the Hindu way, or is it that they are accusing the BJP of not looking beyond Hindus? That's also another point. Tohin Sinha, Vivek Salas.
This type of lie will not hold for long. Let them speak as much as lies they want, and I want the Bharatiya Janata Party to keep on speaking such type of lie, because now the people of India have started, realizing what the Bharatiya Janata Party has been actually doing. That is why, especially the people of Uttar Pradesh, that is why the Honorable Prime Minister could just manage to win by 1,52,000 votes in Varanasi. What does the NGT report says? NGT report ये कहती है आनंद जी कि वहां गंगा का जल आचमन के लायक भी नहीं है. This is the the double dual stand of the Bharatiya Janata Party. The reality is something else, and they say something else.
Well, we'll have to look at the numbers, but if
विवेक जी मिल्कीपुर बचा लेंगे?
अरे मिल्कीपुर बचा देंगे, तभी 43 सीटें जीत के आए थे हम। और सुनिए, अयोध्या भी आप हार के ही आए हैं।
अच्छा, अभी तो आपने कहा कि चुनाव को धर्म से जोड़ने का काम बीजेपी करती है। वाराणसी का हवाला किसने दिया? अयोध्या का हवाला किसने दिया? एनीवे, तो मिल्कीपुर का नाम किसने दिया? नहीं, वो तो उनको आपने आरोप लगाया, तो ही जस्टिफाइड द आरोप, बट द पर्सन टू रेज इट फर्स्ट, हु सेड दैट वी प्ले क्लीन पॉलिटिक्स, यू आर आल्सो प्लेइंग द सेम पॉलिटिक्स. दैट्स व्हाट आई एम सेइंग. But in terms of economics, yes. Should we be proud that the confluence on day one has gone without any big incident, and that nearly 1 crore people have already visited on day one of the Mahakumbh? Of course. And it's only going to be a big parv, the first Shahi Snan on the 14th. So festive greetings all around in the spirit of humanity, and also in the overall aspect of rising spirituality and consciousness of every human being. Thank you, gentlemen. We're going to take a very short break. When we come back, we're back with the day's best highlights of the Mahakumbh.
Today is an important day. I'm standing at Sangam here in Prayagraj, and the Hindu festival that has come after 12 years is witnessing the inaugural Snan today. I am showing you the visuals straight from the Ghat, where you are seeing these devotees taking a holy dip in this river and in fact the water, and you are seeing these visuals where they are worshipping the river Ganga and in fact the Sangam that we call here in Prayagraj. This is the inaugural Snan of Posh Purnima. That is in fact the very first Snan here in Prayagraj, and in fact the festival that has come after 12 years is a mega event, a grandeur event for which preparations have been done from last so many months. We have police, Indian Army, Indian Navy, Indian Air Force and all other agencies deployed for any sort of contingency. We have helicopters on standby, we have divers on standby, and in fact we have authorities very much keeping an eye on every movement that is happening here. We have 6 Royal Bhaat Shahi Snan starting from 14th January. But before that, today is the inaugural Snan, the Purnima Snan, of which I am showing you these visuals straight from Sangam Ghat. In fact, I'll ask camera person Ravinder to show you the visuals. In fact, the arrangements where the precautionary measures have been undertaken. And in fact, when it is about this particular day, so Snan was started as early as 3 a.m. this morning. They say that Brahm Muhurat is one fine Muhurat where everyone wants to take a dip in this holy water. It's an auspicious occasion of Posh Purnima, and in fact the inaugural Snan is taking place here in Mahakumbh. I'm standing at Sangam Ghat. In fact, behind me devotees are taking a holy dip in the waters, and in fact I have got one family that has in fact come from Jaunpur to Prayagraj, and in fact they are very part of this first Snan in the Brahm Muhurat. I'll try to talk to them as well. सर कहाँ से आए हैं आप लोग, क्या नाम है आपका, कहाँ से आए हैं, सबसे पहले तो ये बता दीजिए।
मेरा नाम सर राकेश जायसवाल है और हम जौनपुर से आए हैं।
जौनपुर से आए, कितने लोग हैं, पूरा परिवार आए?
4 लोग हैं।
कौन कौन है सर?
छोटा भाई है, मेरी वाइफ है और मेरी बेटी है।
देखिए, हिंदू मान्यता के हिसाब से कुंभ का कितना महत्व है ये तो किसी को बताने की जरूरत नहीं है, लेकिन जब व्यक्तिगत तौर पर बात करते हैं तो आपका पहला स्नान में सम्मिलित होना कितना महत्व आपकी निजी जिंदगी में है और क्या कुछ इस विषय में बताना चाहेंगे?
क्योंकि सर मेरा पहला स्नान था तो बहुत अच्छा लगा। मतलब एक आध्यात्मिक आत्मसंतुष्टि मिली। बस यही।
सर आप क्या नाम है, क्या करते हैं, आपका भी पहला स्नान है?
हाँ, मैं, मेरे बड़े भाई हैं राकेश जी, मैं अखिलेश जायसवाल इनका छोटा भाई हूँ। हम लोग पेशे से व्यवसायी हैं और ये हम लोगों का पहला स्नान है। और बड़ा अच्छा, बड़ी अच्छी अनुभूति रही और बड़ा अच्छा अनुभव रहा। और
क्या बेहतर है तैयारियों में और कहाँ बेहतरी की?
आज देश के हर कोने में उत्सव का माहौल। प्रयागराज में महाकुंभ का आरंभ हो रहा है। करोड़ों लोग वहां पवित्र स्नान के लिए उमड़ रहे हैं।
नमस्कार, हेलो, क्रिस्टीना इज हियर। आप कैसे हो?
Cold, but the heart is warm. जय श्री राम।
राक्षसों से बचाने के लिए जो अमृत कुंभ कलश लेकर के इंद्र के पुत्र जयंत ने जब गए तो उस कलश से जहाँ जहाँ बूंदे हैं जो छलके, प्रयागराज, हरिद्वार, उज्जैन, नासिक, इन जगहों पे महाकुंभ पर्व मनाया जाता है।
Greenlam Laminates presents CNN News 18 Primetime Studio.
Good evening, you're watching Brass Tacks with me, Zakir Jacob. We're coming to you live from the CNN News 18 Primetime Studio presented by Greenlam Laminates. The Prime Minister today inaugurated the 6.5 kilometer long Z-Mode tunnel, which has now been renamed as the Sonmarg Tunnel. It's a critical infrastructure project in Jammu and Kashmir. It connects Gangangir with Sonmarg, which is a crucial link on the Srinagar-Leh highway, thus making this critical link between two parts of the Union Territory into an all-weather road. At the inauguration, the new Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, Omar Abdullah, heaped praises on Prime Minister Modi. He said Prime Minister Modi has promised elections within 4 months, and that was done. Similarly, he now wants the promise of full statehood to be restored. Now, this, of course, has sent a bit of cat amongst the pigeons, if you will. Some of the India alliance partners have gone into a bit of a tizzy because Omar Abdullah has been stridently anti-BJP and anti-Modi. So what explains his public praise of the Prime Minister? Is it realpolitik? Is it the fact that in a union territory like Jammu and Kashmir, no matter which political dispensation you belong to or which side of the political spectrum you hail from, you have no choice but to work with the centre? So was it a reflection of pragmatic politics, or is this a sign of shifting political sands? Also, the bigger picture is that today India is putting more money, more muscle, more infrastructure power at the very same place which used to be a haven of terrorism up until a few years ago. In fact, just at this very same place in Gangagir, where the Z-Mode tunnel begins from, just 3 months ago, back in October, there was a terror attack in which 7 construction labourers lost their lives. Today, the Prime Minister made it a point to meet some of the construction labourers who were part of the completion of the Z-Mode tunnel project. Is a clear message being sent to the terrorists and to their backers who are on the other side of the border.
अस्पताल बन रहे हैं, कॉलेज बन रहे हैं, यही तो नया जम्मू कश्मीर है। इसके लिए ही हमारी सरकार सबका साथ, सबका विकास की भावना के साथ पूरे समर्पण से दिन रात काम कर रही है।
जो जम्मू कश्मीर में तरक्की, अमन, जमहूरियत को कायम होते हुए नहीं देखना चाहते, वो कभी भी कामयाब नहीं हो सकते। उनको हमेशा यहाँ हार का सामना करना पड़ेगा।
%60 of terrorists eliminated were of Pakistan origin. As of today, whatever is remnant in the valley and Jammu area, we feel that around 80% or more are from Pakistan origin.
All right, it's an all-weather road, a big boost to infrastructure, and of course, Omar's comments are leading to some political speculation. But more importantly, the big picture is Jammu and Kashmir on the path to Vikas, on the path to development, and is that causing consternation across the border? Let's try and put that to our panelists who are joining us. Big panel tonight. Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP, joining us. Tausif Shah is spokesperson of the PDP. Imran Nabi Dar is spokesperson of the National Conference Party. And Lieutenant General retired Sanjay Kulkarni is former DG Infantry of the Indian Army. So on this tunnel itself between Gangir and Sonmarg, it's a 6.5 kilometer tunnel. Sanju Verma, 2,400 crores. It's a vital link in the highway between Srinagar and Leh. Access to Ladakh, reducing travel time and travel risk. And of course, because it's an all-weather road, it opens up Sonmarg for winter tourism. And yet, some people
both in the opposition here as well as others are saying that you took 12 years to complete this. This idea was floated way back in 2012. We're now in 2025. It's 12, 13 years to build this road.
You know, Zaka, I think the opposition has started behaving like खिसियानी बिल्ली. वो जो हिंदी में कहावत है, खिसियानी बिल्ली खंबा नोचे. And you know, there's a famous saying, damned if you do, damned if you don't. And I think the Narendra Modi government is quite acclimatized to the demeanor of the opposition, which sees politics in just about everything, even in matters of governance. And I just want to tell your audience a couple of things. You remember the Chenani Nashri tunnel, called the Syama Prasad Mukherjee tunnel, that was started in 2011. It was completed by the Modi government in 2017. More importantly, do you remember the Chena Bridge? It was started when Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the Prime Minister way back in 2002. It was completed after 2 decades in 2022, thanks to the willpower and determination of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Do you remember the Banihal Pass? It remained dormant for more than 2 decades, brought to fruition by the Modi government. Do you remember the fact that when everybody said elections to Jammu Kashmir mein kabhi hongi hi nahi, within 4 months of making his promise, peaceful elections were not only conducted, but in places like Riyasi, Rajouri, Poonch, Gandarbal, you had voter turnout of more than 65%, the highest ever in post-independent India. Do you know that today the average footfall of tourists post the abrogation of Article 370, every year, roughly 1.6 crore, 16 million tourists travel to Jammu Kashmir. Okay. And more importantly, after 30 years, you had cinema halls 2 years back, which opened in Jammu Kashmir. You had the Tiranga flying at the Lal Chowk in Srinagar for the first time after 30 years in 2022. Today, people can sing Jana Gana Mana, Vande Matram without fear of forward in the Kashmir Valley. So the opposition training its guns at Prime Minister Modi is a classic case of not being able to do anything and finding fault in what the Modi government does simply because of their visceral hatred for Narendra Modi.
Imran Nabi Dar, so is that the reason why your leader and the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, Mr. Omar Abdullah, was today heaping praises on the Prime Minister? He said, and I quote, you said 3 very important things during your program in Srinagar. You said that you're working on eliminating Dil ki Duri and Dilli ki Duri, and this has been proven by your work.